Whenever someone is very comfortable, it's very hard to convince that person to change their life in any significant way. And naturally, Japan is possibly one of the most comfortable places to live. So you can see how difficult it will be to spread the gospel. So this video is just me talking about my experience that I've had in trying to do that and the things I've learned. And I would just like to share with you some of the things while exploring this part of Japan. I guess I would start with one of the mistakes I've made early on. When I first went to this school, I thought I would just be straightforward and tell them about Jesus. And I've quickly learned that that doesn't work. And if my goal is to win souls for the body of Christ, I have to be strategic. I have to use wisdom. I'm going to talk to you guys about another experience that I had. I noticed that they were studying about Jesus in one of their classes. I don't know exactly what class they were studying, but I noticed in the book I saw the Last Supper, and I said, "Whoa, are they actually studying Jesus? I thought Japanese didn't know about Jesus. I thought they were just completely ambivalent. Okay, one of those words. I thought they were just so ambivalent to who Jesus is. But when I saw Jesus in the book, I was surprised. So I thought I would ask this teacher, like, do they teach about Jesus? He said yes. And I asked, so when you were at school, did you learn about Jesus? And I think he said no. So that led into the conversation about, what do you think about Jesus? And then we started talking. And one of the things he said, which I found interesting, he said he's not religious. And he said most people aren't religious. Konnichiwa, sumimasen. YouTube no tame ni interview shite mo ii desu ka? Hi, daijoubu. Hi. One of the things he said is, he's not religious. And then I asked him, do you go to the temple and pray? Can you guess what he said? He said yes. So you can see the weird juxtaposition, the conflicting, you know? They are religious to the point of it not even being spiritual anymore. Well, I guess that's what religious is. Religious is just doing the motions but without the relationship. So guys, look at this beanie. I want to touch it, but I don't know if it is germs. I want to get an interview, but you know, Japanese people, it's so difficult to get interviews with. So let's ask these couples. I think they are couples, maybe. Konnichiwa. YouTube, genki desu ka? YouTube no tame ni interview shite mo ii desu ka? No. This was another experience that I had. Konnichiwa. Genki? Yokatta. Ima, satsue chu. Hi. Hi. Alright, so this other experience I had, I was speaking to this lady. Forgive me if I'm going like all over the places. If this story isn't like conclusion. Oh boy.
Why do I keep making videos that aren't coherent? Why can't I just be natural speaking to the camera? This is a little question I've been having in my head since a long time now. This is the section of me explaining what's wrong with how I make videos without writing. So first one, I usually start, and you can click off as I'm straying from. I started writing thinking that it would help me to express my thoughts clearly. I thought that writing was the key to unlock my speaking potential, but as it turns out, it might be wrong. What I've now come to realize is that I need to speak more often instead of writing more often. It cannot be one, it has to be both. So this is my attempt at solving that problem. Instead of writing, I'm going to start capitalizing on my ability to speak more often. I'm going to stop writing as much and speak more often, and I hope by doing that I will increase my ability. I will start to learn how to express myself clearly in any situation, because when you think about it, when you write, you aren't actually doing the thing. You aren't practicing, you are only writing. I'm rambling now because this is from my head. I'm only speaking as the words come up in my head, and that's the only way to improve. You improve by practicing, you improve by doing things over and over and over. How many times have I done this exact speech pattern?
I was speaking to this other lady at this other school, and then I started this one by saying, what do you think happens after death? And then she replied by saying, heaven. Obviously that's the most common answer, right? She eventually said she is a Buddhist, and in Buddhism they have many different denominations. Her denomination believes that everyone goes to heaven, and that's something I thought was interesting, because usually, you know, everyone it's either heaven or hell. So I pursued that question, I pursued that avenue and asked, so what do you think about that? What do you think about everyone going to heaven? And then she said, Zuri desene, which means kind of like, that's kind of unfair, right? I thought that was interesting. So her specific religion believes that everyone goes to heaven, which is kind of strange, contradictory. Like, if everyone goes to heaven, does that make heaven no longer heaven? Because everyone is on earth, right? And evil exists on earth. Does that mean evil exists in heaven? So those are the questions I would have loved to ask her, but I wasn't. Well, for one, we didn't have time. It was during lunchtime and they had to pack up. So some of these, it's like you have to pick the times in which you can actually bring up these issues. Okay, so I will conclude the video here. We pretend like we live on this earth forever. Like, deep down, we know it's a fact that we're all going to leave this earth. Yet still, we pretend, we act as if we are here forever. If we look at our day-to-day conversations, the conversations that we have during school or with friends, or I don't know, if you're just like walking and you meet someone, like the things we talk about isn't indicative of the fact that we are going to die one day. I can only think about the fact that one day I'm going to leave this place and that nothing matters. This video doesn't matter. Nothing what I do matters. And in a sense, that is the driving force to what makes me do some of these videos. You would think that that fact would cause me to not do anything, but it's actually the reverse. It causes me to be free, causes me to do things without judgment, without having to feel the need that if things doesn't work out, if people look at me strange, if I am seen as a weird person, seen as cringe, none of that matters, because I know in the end it's going to be forgotten. Nothing is going to be remembered. So that fact puzzles me. Why isn't everyone in the world, even in Japan, like concerned to the point of that's the only thing we talk about? Like, if you're in the workplace, if you're at work in Japan, one of the things I've noticed is that people don't talk about the fact that they're going to die, that this is not it, this is not all there is to life, and it is going to end one day. And what happens after that? Why shouldn't that be the most important thing that we seek? And I don't know the answer to that. Let's imagine, before I came here to Japan, I was in Jamaica, and if I was preparing for things in Jamaica before I left, it wouldn't make sense. Like, suppose I was preparing to find a job, to get married, to build a business in Jamaica. You would wonder, why are you doing that when you're going to leave to go to Japan soon? And it's the same question I have in my mind. Why are we preparing for things here on earth when we know that we're going to leave this place soon?